Good morning, good morning. If you're watching this in morning time, and if it's nighttime, like in New Jersey right now where I'm recording this or going live with this, good evening. How are you? I made two posts today, and I would like to give you a little bit of explanation or a lesson with the post that I made. The first post said, "Ignore critics, focus on your wins. It will drive you and feed you." And explaining this one is very important because the same advice could make another person and it could break another. But the way I put these words for you to empower you and not disempower you, to make you a victor and not a victim, is that sometimes when you're working on things, you hear many opinions. You can get many criticisms on what you're doing wrong, what's going wrong, how it should be, and all that stuff. And when you're starting to work on yourself or on a project, even if you're building wealth, you will get many naysayers. But you have to focus on your small achievements. Build on the small achievements. They will take you much, much further. You cannot take all your energy into just listening to critiques because that builds a foundation that's easily shakeable. Every small thing you do, every positive thing that you do, you're building blocks for your foundation to be a stronger person, a better person. And there will be many opinions, there will be many naysayers, but you have to focus on building your foundation and focusing on the small wins you're doing. So one of the examples I could give is when it comes to really shutting down the critiques, you have to know that the amount of willpower that you have within you as is not limitless. It has a certain degree. That's why you see when you look at people like Mark Zuckerberg or the Steve Jobs, they wear the same shirts to minimize the amount of decisions they make. Now, if you have so many naysayers and you focus on what they're saying, it will take away part of your energy that could be put in production, that can be put in really making yourself better on the journey where you're working on yourself. So you have to put yourself in a place where you don't focus on critiques, but you focus on your wins. You know your journey, you know your small wins. You have to give yourself a chance by not being a person who allows negativity or focus on it. And again, one of the posts I had today said, don't focus on on people who criticize. Focus on the small wins you have. You know your steps, you know your story, you know where you're coming from. So you can't afford to always listen to people who point at flaws or point at things that could be better. Focus on your journey. Focus on putting one step in front of the other, one step in front of the other. That's how you start. As long as you're not stagnant in one place and you're looking to do better, you're looking to build yourself, you can get yourself to better places. But focus your energy on growth and less on people who criticize. You only have a certain part of energy and grit into you. You can't use it accommodating, stomaching, enduring other people's criticism. Other times, especially when you're working on yourself or building something, you have to focus your energy in what builds you, what makes you more confident, what makes you go faster and better in your life. You really have to quiet the naysayers. Many people have opinions, even people who sometimes you find yourself in positions where you're working on something that people around you have never done, but everybody has an opinion, unfortunately. But it's up to you to guard your dream. It's up to you to guard your journey so that you don't feel defeated and don't give up on yourself. So focus on the small wins. You know your journey. Do not focus on the naysayers. Do not focus so much on critiques. There are many people with opinions, especially the people who don't do. They are good at judging. But you have to remember there is no statue of critiques. None whatsoever. The statues you see are people who actually did something. So Is someone who's criticizing you coming from a place where they've done already what you're trying to achieve? Are they 50 times way ahead of you and they're seeing you go wrong and helping you? Or is it just people criticizing for the sake of criticizing? You have to differentiate the two and then focus on your journey. Focus on the energy you put towards building whatever you're building. But it cannot be on always defending and listening to criticism. That will cripple you. Unless someone is your mentor or coach, or they've achieved already what you're trying to work on, or maybe they're on the same journey and you're holding each other accountable, then you can listen. But don't just listen to anyone just because they say so. You really have to choose where you get your information. You really have to choose people you give energy to. And just because you were getting along with someone doesn't mean you have to listen to everything they're saying. You have to guard your dreams. You have to guard your mind. You have to guard your goal. You know your path and you know your pain. You know where you're coming from. You know where you're going from. People always have an opinion. Focus on what you're doing to make your life better, on becoming a better person. You cannot afford to always listen to critique and put in that energy. It's either you're building or you're destroying. Don't be part of the destroying process of things you're doing. Give less time to people who are negative. You don't need that in your life. So the post I made earlier today said, ignore criticism and focus on your wins, your steps, no matter how small. The point is you're doing something. There are people who are not doing anything, but they always have an opinion. And if you're working on your dream, you're working on yourself, that's your story. Do not always allow people to have an opinion. That's not good for you. They should keep their opinion for themselves, unless if they've already achieved what you're trying to achieve and they're helping you, guiding you so that you don't go off the way where you're trying to get. But if you don't want their results and they don't know what it takes, or they don't know, they're not in agreeable with what you're trying to build, lessen their opinions. You don't need that kind of negativity. All right, so that was one of the posts. Let me see if I have a picture where I can show you. You're going to see it on my post. It looked something like that. It's yellow in color. I know the words you can't read because it's like left to right because of the mirror effect. I get that, but when you go on the post, you'll be able to see it and you know what I'm talking about. You're welcome, Modai Chansa. You're very welcome. The second post I had today, I had two posts, is master your emotions. You really need to master your emotions. The emotions you have within yourself can work for you or against you. And the person who has untrained emotions, or just emotions you haven't taken time to know what they mean, or really listen to people who've achieved more to know how they handle the emotions when they feel, is very important. I made this post earlier today. I know when I show you the post, you will see right to left, or left to right, the mirror effect. You will not be able to see to read, but you can go on the timeline and you'll be able to see the post I made. It's just showing you. It looks red like this. And basically this post, when you see it, it says master your emotions. Make them work for you, not against you. What does this mean? This means there are times you will try to work on projects, or there's something you're trying to achieve in your life. It could be the business you're in, it could be the job you have, it could be a responsibility you have on working on yourself that you've put upon yourself. You're like, okay, this time I'm working on myself. Sometimes we feel discouraged. Everybody feels discouraged at one point. And it's about knowing that emotions are just a signal to say, okay, we're experiencing something we're uncomfortable with, but if it's something that's helping you grow, use that emotion as fuel to really overcome and go further, because it is that emotion that makes many people stop. It's a block that most people can't cross because they get uncomfortable or they feel fearful. You really have to work towards that. Sometimes you meet a new person and you can't really like read them. You can't get the vibe. You don't really know what is this? Is this danger? Is this something unfamiliar? But when you're growing or doing something that you've never done before, or trying to push further than you have, there are times you will feel uncomfortable. You have to know that is the time to go much more and not stop. Even if you feel doubtful in yourself, you're like, okay, like I feel like this is it, I've done my best. That's an indicator not to stop, but to go much more, to put in much more of your time, to see who can you talk to that can help you, that has already achieved what you're trying to achieve. Is there a role model you're looking up to? Can you just watch them on LinkedIn? Can you watch them on YouTube? Can you watch them on their Facebook, on their Instagram? See how they live their life. Use that as fuel to show you what you're trying to create and the process you have to go through it, because it becomes so challenging that most people fail because of emotions. I'll give you another example. It can be different scenarios. So this is very broad, and when it's broad, I can't narrow it down because I've got different viewers from different walks of life. But let's say you have a conflict with a colleague, or you have a conflict with a partner. When you come from a place where it's all full blown out emotions, no logic for it, you will do things and say things that will work against you in the long run. Sometimes knowing to hold yourself back and ask yourself, why am I feeling this? Okay, this is why I'm feeling that. How will I approach this situation? Where you can know that sometimes you have to hold yourself back, analyze what you're thinking, and see, if I act just because I feel a certain way, does it mean I will get my result, or will I just make a problem even bigger than it is? The same thing could be with a work colleague, it could be within a household. This is very general, and because on Facebook I've got many friends, I'm not narrowing it down because this is my private page that I have many different people from many walks of life. But you really need to master your emotions. If you're working on a project, trying to start a new thing that you've never worked on, especially now that we have COVID-19 and people are trying different business models and are in unknown waters where they feel so uncomfortable. No matter what you feel, remember, feelings and emotions shouldn't be what stop you. It should be what fuels you to actually keep on pursuing. You should understand that because of what you are feeling, that what you're feeling in that moment, it really stops many people. And sometimes it's a separation of people who make it and people who really struggle or just give up. So don't let the emotions you feel hold you back. Use them as a fuel. Use them to do much more. Yes, you can be careful in things you do in life. You can be careful on your approach, but you have to be open-minded to say, I shouldn't trust everything I feel. Remember, your brain that you have is an old brain. It's there to make you survive. It's not there to make you wealthy. It's not there to make you have pleasant conversations all the times. And whatever you feel inside, let's say if you're coming from a place of pain, use that drive to actually go as fuel to actually achieve your dreams. That's the reason you should actually work much more. You should push more so that you come out from the situation you are in and be in a better situation. Use whatever feelings you have within yourself as an indication why you cannot stop. When you feel frustrated, that frustration should be the reason why you should go on the other end of the picture on what you're working on. Do not stop. Keep on going. You can do it, but you really have to believe it. And remember, if you believe you can do it, you can believe it. You can do it. But if you can't be in a place where you really believe that you can achieve what you're going for, no matter what a million people say, you will not achieve it. You have to believe in yourself. And if you don't have that belief, work on the belief. Surround yourself with people who will encourage you and push you. Do not focus so much on critiques. Focus on people who make you want to do more. Focus on people who see the small things you did, no matter how small. Focus on that. and that will build you, that will make you better in whatever you do. Master your emotions. You do not have to act on everything you feel, not everything you feel. And when you feel it, ask yourself, how can I use whatever I'm feeling to actually achieve, to go further, to be a better person? You have to look inwards. And it empowers you when you take on the blame on what happens around and see, how could I have done that better? Is there a way I could have approached that situation better? If you feel like you failed in a day, especially with what we are going through with the COVID quarantine, it's very normal and very human sometimes to have bad days. You will not be a Superman or Superwoman every day. That's okay. And be kind to yourself. Push yourself, but be kind to yourself. You're in it to win. And life is not a race, it's a marathon. You will hit some potholes. Sometimes you will feel defeated, but you have to keep on getting up. Do not let those emotions keep you down. You cannot let that happen to you. You have to be the one that's going to persevere and push through everything you go through. And sometimes when you feel you don't have the pain, the energy to actually go through everything by yourself, look for like-minded people who are on a similar journey, or people who understand the pain, who understand the weight that comes with whatever you're doing in life. It could be as a parent or as a business person. Look at people who are on a similar journey, people who will look at you with empathy, not pity, because pity is not good. Playing victim is never good. You want to be a victor. You want to be a person who wins. So stay away from pity parties. Stay away from people who, when you gather up together, you all play victim. That is not empowering, because when you are in that situation, the only way you can come up is by someone feeling sorry for you, or someone having that time to actually help you out. But if all you have is yourself, get yourself up, keep on going, keep on believing. And remember, when you talk about Oprah Winfrey, you think about the childhood she had, the mother she had. She was not born in wealth. When you think about people like Tony Robbins, when you think about different people, Tiger Woods, the Venus sisters, Serena and Venus Williams, you think about what they went through, what they had to endure, and how they really put a block and guide on their emotions so that they can put all their energy into building and not into just listening to negativity and feeling defeated, feeling attacked. Sometimes you really have to close up your heart and really go in full throttle, like it's to attack your goal, attack your dreams. And you cannot always be in pity parties and expect to build. Walk away from that. It might feel good at times to have people who feel sorry for you, but you do not need that. If you're tired and sometimes you just need a breather, allow yourself to cry, allow yourself to feel bad, allow yourself to sometimes just be in a place where you're just reflecting. But you have to get up. You always have to get up, and you have to master your emotions. You can't afford to always listen to what you feel. Sometimes you get people who criticize you left, right, center, but you have to be strong. You have to put a shield and put all that energy into what you're building. Use all that pain and say, that's the reason I should be on top. That's the reason I deserve this, because I can endure this that other people cannot do. So please, remember, whatever you're going through, especially this time, you can achieve all the dreams and goals you want or you've put for yourself. But you really have to master your emotions, master people who lift you up and people who take you down. Sometimes you get that constructive criticism of people who are actually pulling you up. You have to learn to differentiate. So the 2 posts I made, I showed you, and I'll flip them over. You'll be able to see them on my page. I think they were all posted today. Master your emotions. Make them work for you, not against you. Do not let fears hold you back. Remember, when you look at people who, actually, when you think about most people who are in a place where they've built some wealth, or they've got a status where they're publicly very noticed, you see they get a lot of criticism, but they don't spend all day all night just reading that negative criticism. They don't spend all day and all night just dealing with naysayers. Like, they take that energy into producing, and they only focus on what they did right. They look at what they did wrong, they reflect. That's very important. Look at what you did wrong, reflect, see how you could have done better. How can you do it better next time if you're in such a situation, and keep on going. So yes, you do need to reflect, you do need to look back, but do not focus on everybody who's a naysayer or all the critics that come your way. They will cripple your foundation. It's been amazing. I look forward to someone joining me online where we could have a conversation, a Q&A. I hope you are having an amazing time bonding with family, and whatever situation you're in right now, focus on people who are building, focus on people who have a positive mind, focus on people who are doing much more, and you can get to your goals, you can get to your dreams. But you really have to start believing in yourself. You really have to focus on what you have inside. Even if people don't see it, you know what you have inside. You know the gift you have. And if you don't know your gift, you know the drive you have to want to do better. But you have to allow yourself to dream, and you have to put yourself in a place where you have a better fighting chance. Thank you so much for watching. You guys were amazing. I see Young Prince Dancehall. Hi. You're welcome. So amazing to be able to share some information of positivity. I'm also encouraged. Thanks for the wise words. You're welcome. I do appreciate you being here and watching, and getting some tips on how you can go about in your journey. If you know someone who can benefit from the message, please feel free to share. Leave a comment. Let me know what you are dealing with and what you would like me to make content for you, especially on my public profile when I'm just throwing hints out there. When I do have my masterminds, I'm focusing those on people who are building wealth, and ladies also. I'm creating something very special for the ladies. It will be coming soon. I'm working on so much, actually creating a podcast as well, which will soon launch. I will give a date when you can listen and download from Apple Store. It's going to be amazing. But for now, do share this message if you know someone that needs it, especially with so much negative news out there. Feel free to share, tag, and leave a comment to let me know what you do. You can just tell me even a little bit about yourself. Let's get to know each other. So thank you for watching. I'm in New Jersey right now, and it is 11:53 p.m. so it is 23:53 p.m. and I just thought, I haven't been here live where I'm actually sitting and explaining some of the posts I post, because I do realize you can give the same information to 5 people and everybody will interpret it in a different way. I just want to make sure that when I post something there, you see it in an empowering way, and don't see it from a victim standpoint where we point fingers at other people, but how can we use it for ourselves? How can we make it better for ourselves? How can you do it? How can you step up better in whatever you're doing in your life right now? So have an amazing night if you're watching this from within the USA and it's nighttime. And if you're watching this from an African country or any country that is morning time, good morning. Have an amazing day. Keep your spirits high. You can do it. I believe in everybody. Everybody has potential, but you have to really start feeding that beast that wants to grow. You really have to start feeding the part of you that's ambitious. You have to start feeding the part of you that wants to be better, for you to actually open up your brain to start seeing people who are living the life you want to live, or the life you think of creating. But first, it starts from in there before you can see it out there in the world. Remember, we don't see the world as it is. We see the world as we are. So you see the world as you are, not as the world is. So the better you become inside, the more you see outside, the more better things you see. If you're negative in the mind and everything is everywhere, what you see in the world will reflect what's in your mind. So work on yourself. I hope you have an amazing day again. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.